Would you please welcome Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth?
You seem excited. Having watched that package, you went, I think I'll see that movie.
I was like, thank you for selling that movie for us. Really grateful.
Looks good, right?
That's the most of the film we've seen. We've only seen it in the black and white version, the sort of muted. Like when in the pre-production, the post-production stage, George, when the special effects aren't finished, just mutes it in black and white, so you watch it with a true sense of the story as opposed to judging it by the unfinished special effects and so on. Anyway. So it looks really good. Congrats.
You got to check it out, guys.
No, you know what? It actually feels really right. We're going to see it for the first time tomorrow with a lot of the crew that made the film, and so that feels holistically important.
And then you can't change it.
Do you want me to ruin the ending?
Right. Do we live? Do we die? Who wins?
Don't tell him.
No.
I've got a great poker face.
I want to see this black and white French art house version of the film, by the way.
Well, that's coming. This is the George does this.
Oh, right.
I think he has, what is it, black, white and chrome?
The chrome version with little...
He's got a version like that.
We should do the project like this. It would be a change everything. Hey, so first off, congratulations. Chris, I want to ask you, as an Australian, because Mad Max, it's a landmark in Australian cinema. Like, it's like you're being inducted into this colossus, you know what I mean? Like, as an Australian, how special is this for you?
Very special. I heard David Collins say, the Americans have Star Wars, the Brits have Harry Potter, and we have Mad Max. Yeah. And, 45 years this franchise has existed. I watched the films with my parents growing up, and as an Australian actor, it was kind of the pinnacle to work with George Miller, but also in a Mad Max film. So it's, pretty wild, kind of pinch yourself moment for sure.
It also feels like, as an Australian, we feel represented as well, which is Mad Max. It's very exciting. And Anya, you're...
We want to be clear. That's not us.
No, it's just me.
She knows. She knows.
But, Anya, you've come here and you shot this film. There's an amazing Australian cast in it. Do you feel now like you've been included into the Australian family? Are you claiming Australian status?
I mean, I hope so. It was so interesting to me. I've actually lived in Sydney longer than I've lived in any other city for my whole adult life. Yeah, I showed up to Sydney Airport yesterday and I was like, I'm home. I know this city like the back of my hand. The food here is insane.
Well, we have a habit of claiming people once we fall in love with them, so you're ours now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll stay.
Passport's in the mail. Chris, you've made so many movies as a hero. What was it like to kind of drill into your villain era?
A lot of fun. There's a lot of sort of, I guess, expectations or limitations. Playing the hero, that's kind of, you need to, abide by a certain amount of rules and so on. This was interesting. I was trying to tap in. This is going to sound weird because I play a murderous psychopath. But you're trying to tap into the sort of adventurous, the joy, playfulness as a kid when your imagination's allowed to sort of run wild. And that was easier to access with a character that was allowed to break the rules. And so there was one big sort of experiment. And luckily had George there to say, too far, bring it this way, bring it this way. But it was refreshing and creatively satisfying for sure.
So whose decision to cover your gorgeous face with a ridiculous nose?
Anya's.
Really?
I was like, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to put on the nose.
So you got nose? Is it teeth as well?
I got nose, I got teeth, I got contact lenses.
Wow.
And that shot there, you see, like, that's 15, the film spans across 15 or 20 years. And so there's age, makeup and glue and all sorts of things.
Is that part of the fun? Like it's dressing up to get into the role?
Yeah, and that was, that's why I wanted to be an actor, was the fantasy, the adventure, the transportation into another world and another space. And this was that to the furthest extent that I had the opportunity to do. And, both of us sat in the hair and makeup chair for sort of 3 or 4 hours and transformed. And by the time you look in the mirror, you're like, I don't recognise this individual. So it's a little easier to sort of step into
the villain. Oh, without the nose, you can't be the villain.
I can't.
Well, there was another
nice guy, bad guy. Nice guy,
there was another Aussie that wore a nose and won an Oscar.
Oh, yeah?
Nicole
Is that
Kidman.
the secret?
Oh, so it could be an Oscar.
The Oscar nose theory, I'm really enjoying.
I'm going to get a bigger nose.
That's solid.
But Anya, you had your own appearance issue, right? Because you, I understand, wanted to shave your head for the role and you weren't allowed to do that?
I was so excited to do it. I think I'd been looking for a role where I got to do that forever. And then I showed up and George just loved my hair. And he's the gentlest, sweetest man. And he was like, no, it cannot go. And I was like, but I'm ready. But yeah, I
It is
also,
lovely.
I attached something to it, which is, I think, you know, Furiosa's stolen from her home, and I think there's an element of her that thinks by keeping her hair, she'll be able to go back home kind of as the same girl as she was.
Right.
And that sort of leads to a very climactic moment where it's like, no, you've been forever changed and you have to become this creature now.
And
It's
do
a
you
good thing
think
you didn't cut your arm off in real life.
I'm committed.
So do you think when people do get to see Furiosa that they'll think Charlize Theron did a great job of playing the character that you've now set up?
I feel so lucky that I fell in love with this character through Charlize's interpretation. Fury Road blew my mind in such a huge way. And I think for both Chris and I, we never thought we'd have the opportunity to play in this sandbox. So when the opportunity came, I'm just so grateful for the work that they did on that movie. And it's still one of my favourite movies of all time.
And there was a lot of sand.
A lot of sand.
A lot of sand.
Inhalation
A lot of
of sand.
dust.
How much did you ingest during filming of this movie?
I've been so dirty and like...
Still cleaning it out.
I've been so dirty and bloody my entire career, and that has nothing on this film. Like, it was 7 layers of blood and dirt, and at one point I was like, whoa. Okay.
7 Layers of Blood and Dirt sounds like a good autobiography title or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's my book.
Colour.
Well, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, is in cinemas everywhere on the 24th of May, but we're not done with it yet. Stick around, please, because we have the writer, the director, the producer, George Miller, joining Chris and Anya at the desk.